Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Today's what I want to talk about is how do you remove the virus from your way of thinking, like the negative virus, the negative talk about that you say about yourself, and how do the virus get into your way of thinking negative? There's different ways that the virus get in, from television shows to listen to music to being around certain people to just feeling down about yourself or not understanding just how much love our Father in heaven has for you. And so, a lot of times when it comes to Satan doing stuff, he will find different ways to keep that negative thinking in your mind, even if you're dealing with something that you dealt with when you were a child, from someone feeding you negative way of thinking or talking about you in such a way, or just the whole entire situation that we're dealing with in the world with different cultures and different races that are not getting along because of a way of thinking. It is not something that God in heaven said, this is the way I need you to think negative. He's never said that. That is something that Satan is feeding you, to think in such a negative way. And so what you have to take from things that are happening in the world and not have your mind focus on the way the world is thinking. A lot of times when we're dealing with situations in our life, or just dealing with just thinking about things about ourselves, we're thinking of stuff in the world way of thinking, from dressing in certain clothing to talking to people on the computer, to talking to people on the telephone, or looking at certain television shows that are not healthy for the mind. And so we tend to think that this is the way we need to handle things, in a worldly way of doing stuff. And that's a lot of times how Satan gets in the mind. He uses the world as an influence on your mind to implant certain things into you, thinking this is the way you need to handle stuff because she would have handled it this way, he would have handled it this way. So if you handle it this way, just go up and just tell them how you feel in such a horrible way, or just start hitting on them. This is the way you need to handle it. And so, what you want to do as a follower of the Word, being in the Bible, understanding the Word, and understanding that our Heavenly Father is about love. He's not about hate. He's not about slavery. He's not about dividing different cultures. He is about love. Remove the world way of thinking and put in the positive way of thinking, which is the way our Heavenly Father has raised us to be and want us to be and want His children to be. He's all about love. He's not about hate. He's not about fighting against each other. He's not about that. And so when you have like that negative thinking, that is Satan's way of feeding you information, which is a worldly way of thinking and of handling things, and also talking about yourself. So a lot of times when people are feeling depressed or down or low self-esteem, the first thing they find about themselves is different flaws about themselves, and how they look, their appearance, their hair, their clothes, to how they're dressing and how they, handle different things, and they try to compare themselves to other people. And you don't want to compare yourself to other people. You want to compare yourself to the way Father wants you to compare yourself, and that's what loving who you are as an individual, loving yourself as a person, not trying to compare yourself based on somebody else who lives next door and people who are on television shows or people who work in the industry. You don't want to try to kind of rate yourself accordingly to what someone else looks like on TV, or what someone else looks like that lives like down the street, or someone else look in your family. You want to always know that Father loves you for who you are, and He's not going to look at your body and say, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this, fix it. He's not going to do that. That is something Satan is going to put in your mind to make you think negative thoughts about yourself. So you don't want to have that negative thinking. Anytime that you feel like you have like a negative thought about yourself, the most important thing you want to do is start writing down notes and put them on like a little sticky. Write down positive stuff about yourself and repeat those things to yourself. Go read the notes, read the sticky notes, and read wherever you're writing them. Get up in the morning. Put them in places that you know you normally go. We normally go to the kitchen to cook. We normally go to the bathroom to take showers, or we normally sit in front of the computer to work, or we normally watch television. So anywhere you're watching things or doing anything that's consistent in your home, even in your car, you're driving somewhere, or at your job. Like when I used to work in retail when I was like 21, I used to have like Bible scriptures right actually sticking on my computer. And some of the other coworkers were doing that too, because sometimes we would get customers that would come in and they were just so mean. It was very difficult for us to handle it. Not that we wanted to do anything awful. It was just hurting how they would not understand what we were trying to explain to them. They don't understand. We're not going by the store's rules and laws of certain clothing. It's actually the designer. Like Levi's had like a strict rule. Like, I will not accept any returns if they don't have the proper tag on them. Customers have to understand. They didn't understand that a lot of the times. Like, certain designers have certain rules that they will not accept their merchandise if it does not have the proper tag on there the way it was from the manufacturer office from where they actually did the product. So a lot of times it was very difficult handling customers in retail because they really didn't understand that. It wasn't us as the employees giving you the rules. It was basically the company who created the clothing. So your main thing is you want to make sure that you don't allow your mind to become cluttered with that negative way of thinking. If you got to put stickies anywhere from the scripture from the Bible, or just positive way of saying things, or making sure you implant the positive in your mind, not the virus in your mind. And so you have to keep in mind on what you're dealing with day to day. Even if you're dealing with someone that's coming around you and saying negative things to you or about you, you want to not allow that to sink in. I had like a family member who was so used to certain relatives saying certain words to them consistently in a negative way when they were a kid. When they became like an adult, I would use that word as a joke, not to them. I would use the word for myself, and my friends, the school I went to, we used that word just to clown around about, oh, you're so crazy, or, you're so goofy, or you're so, but this particular family member took that word to heart, that I was saying it in a mean way to them because they had gotten used to hearing that word in a negative way. And so you want to clear that virus, that way of thinking from your mind, and realize that certain words that you keep hearing and allowing it to feed in your mind can have a negative effect. And you have to keep in mind that Father in heaven doesn't want to feed you anything negative. He wants to feed you things positive. He wants to give you love, and he wants you to enjoy life. He wants you to wake up. When you wake up, greet him, say hello, talk to him, tell him everything. Tell him anything that's bothering you. He's going to tell you what you need to do. He's going to show you. He's going to educate you out of love on how to handle everything. So I just want you to understand that don't allow Satan to feed you negative information, to keep pouring in negative information into your mind. You want to allow Father in heaven to give you positive information. You don't want Satan's information, because when he's giving you information, is to look down on yourself, it's to do the negative, it's to do the opposite of what Father in heaven wants you to do. So I hope this helped you in so many ways. I pray that you have an amazing and blessed day, and don't allow Satan to get into your mind and turn it from a positive way of thinking to a negative way of thinking. You want to say good things about yourself. You're here. You're loved by God in heaven. He has so much love to give you and help you understand just how to deal with defeating Satan. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.